One of the things that I found a lot of pushback on my book is that um, people don't really appreciate that the sociology of knowledge implications of what happened culturally. Um, so I talk to scientists and they say, well, I'm a Christian. I don't have any problem with, doing science and being a Christian. I can't see a problem, right? Um, and perhaps 50% of scientists are religious. What do you mean that there's this sort of methodological atheism and this sort of reductive um, uh, assumption about the meaning of reality implicit in modern science? Well, I'm not actually talking about what scientists do. I'm talking about what science as a cultural phenomena is. Um, and you'd have to be sleeping under a rock not to notice that even though the conflict thesis is rubbish, there was a concerted war in the name of science against religion for 100 years, and they won. They really won. By 1970, the whole intellectual high culture had gone post-Christian and functionally materialist. And so we have this, I would say we are now half a century in the post-Christian West. And what we are now seeing is the disintegration of 1,000 years of cultural assumptions and enormous confusion and enormous at-sea-ness everywhere in our culture, and particularly in sexuality, which we'll get into soon, where what were the common sense assumptions of Western culture are just being thrown out if they were Western assumptions. And there's this sort of assumption that anything that's embedded in the Christian West is oppressive and backward, and in order to be progressive and in order to be enlightened and in order to be moving with the times, the church and everyone must get on the new bandwagon and become culturally post-Christian. I think so my book fits into this moment where there is a fascinating attempt to recover roots in the West. Now, like most academics, I'm a kind of a lefty by birth, right? And but it's not the left that is interested in recovering it; it's the right. So the conservative movement is saying, well, what is Western culture without Christianity? Do we need it? This doesn't mean they're necessarily Christians. People like Tom Holland and Louise Perry, these fascinating thinkers who are saying, well, hang on a minute, it's the Christian heritage of the West that makes it distinctively Western, and not necessarily coming at things from a theologically committed position. But they are noticing that we have eroded the wisdom foundations of our culture and we are at sea.